Primetime News with Israel Lai.
Good evening and welcome to the Primetime News Bulletin here on the Joy News channel. Coming up, Kumasi suburb of Ibaka shocked by grisly murder of a 13-year-old boy in cold blood. Mission hospitals turn away patients seeking treatment with the NHIS cards to demand payment of monies owed by the scheme providers. Attorney General asked to deal with persons who make prejudicial comments on cases pending in court. In the Upper West region, a group of men claiming to be supporters of the ruling NDC go on rampage, destroying and burning billboards with a portrait of President Mahama to register their dissatisfaction with his nomination of a deputy regional minister. Orphans at Teshu home get to be kings and queens for a day. Ketsi Limousine Company. All this and more coming up. In our very first story, the Kumasi suburb of Ibaka was this morning shocked by the gruesome murder of a 13-year-old JHS student in the middle of his sleep. Two other members of the family, the deceased's mother and sister, were also slashed in the attack which occurred at dawn. The incident comes barely a month after the death of his father. The leader and founder of the King Jesus Anointing Ministry, Reverend Johnson Opoku, correspondent Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin, at the time of filing this report, said the police were still without a clue as to who the assailant is and his motive.
The deceased, Akwesi Eboa, a JHS2 pupil of the Chuniboa Kodia JHS at Eboakwa Macro, was beheaded at about 1 a.m. Monday morning. Family sources are especially curious the assailant had to bypass the deceased's mother and sister, who were both asleep in the same room, to attack him. They believe the attack was premeditated, coming within a month of the father's death on February 15. The two surviving victims are currently receiving treatment at the Kwabena Teaching Hospital for their injuries. Residents of the Abuakwa area, however, tell Joy News they are living in fear the attack may be repeated and have urged the police to step up their game. Meanwhile, the Kumasi police have launched an investigation into the matter.
Let's get some update on the murder of this 13-year-old boy from Ashanti regional correspondent Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin. Good evening to you, Mohammed. The family has indicated they believe the attack was premeditated. Do they have any suspect yet?
No, for now, no. They have not gotten any suspect yet.
Have you been able to pick up anything at all as to who may have, done this or committed this grisly murder, or probably the motive?
Yeah, for now, the family are yet to find out who exactly did that act. This morning, one of the relatives, Amakitua, spoke to us, and she said clearly that the sister of the deceased saw the man wearing white t-shirt and khaki trouser plus yellow cap. But as to who he was, the girl is unable to tell. So he also told us that the man wasn't, according to the girl, the man is not he is not fat, and he isn't all that tall. So for now, that is the identity the family has. That is how the family, the sister of the deceased, was able to identify the man. But as to who he is, the family don't know for now.
Right, thank you very much. That was Mohammed Nuruddin from the Ashanti region. Now, the Attorney General has been asked to take appropriate action against people who make prejudicial comments on cases still pending in court. and who also assaults and intimidates judges. This, the Association of Magistrates and Judges say, would help the judiciary dispense their duties without fear or favor and help deepen democracy. It made the call at the Association of Magistrates and Judges at the 54th Law Week celebration of the Ghana School of Law in Accra.
The launch was attended by the Attorney General, Justices of the Court, the Ghana Bar Association, administrators and students at the law school, and is themed "The Law as an Indispensable Tool for the Development of Ghana's Democracy." The Association of Magistrates and Judges' solidarity message on the need for firm action against people and lawyers who sub-adjudicate matters pending in court attracted a loud applause from the audience.
The attack on the judiciary as unnecessary and an affront to democracy, to the public. And once the Attorney General is here, I will also urge her to take appropriate action against people, including lawyers, who assault and intimidate judges. When subject matter of cases are pending before the court, you hear some lawyers who are supposed to know discussing them on air, knowing it is sub judice and it is not permissible in law, and their conduct amount to contempt of court. Honorable Attorney General, on this note, we are urging you, we are inviting you, that henceforth, when you hear those acts, you should take them to obey them, seek the proper remedy, and make sure that they are punished to ensure that our democracy is deepened.
Justice Joseph Akamba, delivering a speech on behalf of the Chief Justice, also asked judges, lawyers and officers of the court to live above reproach and safeguard the confidence Ghanaians have reposed in the judiciary.
The dispute arising out of the 2012 elections and the fact that all the main actors have chosen to resort to the courts for redress is a sign of confidence in the ability of our judiciary to deal with such disputes, and also a milestone in the development of our democracy.
The Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Marita Buru Apia Opon, also called on the public and lawyers in training to imbibe the law and the tenets of democracy wholeheartedly and become champions not only for the rights and freedoms, but also the responsibilities and duties that go with them. The President of the Student Representative Council, Samuel Akwabatel's, on his part, called on the Chief Justice to speed up efforts towards revising the intake of graduates to the Ghana School of Law. Guest at the week's celebration was also showed around a photo exhibition.
The Ghana National Fire Service has blamed its failure to effectively deal with fires around the country on the various municipal and district assemblies' inability to enforce laws that will prevent market fires. The acting fire chief, Brigadier General J.B. Guiri, has been speaking to Joy News' Francis Abang about their challenges.
The service itself has come under public criticism for not doing enough to fight fire and prevent fires, especially after 500 fire outbreaks were recorded in only January this year. But the acting chief fire officer, Brigadier General J.B. Guiri, says the current effort of public education and community mobilization made by the fire service amounts to nothing, since the assemblies have failed to improve access points to the markets in cases of fires.
If you go back now, most of the stalls have been reconstructed, others are under construction, and it's the same story. There is no access. Suffice it to say that we have been promised that Kumasi market will be given a modern outlook. So we are waiting to see, maybe with the plan of the city as to rebuilding the market to attain a modern standard, we may achieve that aim. But our job is to make sure that we let them know the do's and don'ts. Yes, and the assembly has the capacity to correct them.
The service has also been accused by sections of the public for selling water meant for firefighting to persons who are in dire need of water. Brigadier General Guiri, however, debunks the allegations, saying this is one of the many misconceptions Ghanaians have created about the service. He has, however, cautioned fire officers engaged in the practice to stop or have themselves to blame.
The strategic plans that we have in trying to curb this thing is to heighten public education. And currently, as I speak, there is a patrol plan for all markets within the country to stem that tide. We have also tried to identify some of the problems, and indeed, we have communicated some of our concerns to some of the assemblies as to areas that they need to watch out. But I also have to say that the phenomenon of the market fires is an albatross on the neck of the fire service, because all the markets in this country, we don't have access when there's a fire in any of the markets in Ghana.
Even as the Ghana National Fire Service chalks half a century in existence, the service is yet to come to terms with the demands of the 21st century, and the Chief Fire Officer says despite the long walk and challenges the service is bedeviled with, the best will be achieved.
The Tamale SDA Mission Hospital this morning turned away many patients holding NHIS cards. The action is in line with an earlier directive by the Christian Health Association of Ghana for member hospitals to withdraw services to NHIS card holders. Northern Regional Correspondent Mohammed Hashmin was at the Tamale SDA Mission Hospital this morning and has filed this report.
Patients had to move to the Tamale Teaching Hospital and other government hospitals to access health care. The situation at the Tamale Teaching Hospital was quite serious as patients with NHIS cards scrambled to be attended to. Some of the patients who spoke off camera said a large number at the teaching hospital was as a result of the decision by the Mission Hospital not to attend to NHIS card holders. They said this brought a lot of pressure to the teaching hospital. Some of them who waited for hours to be attended to were seen dozing off. Speaking to Joy News off camera, the matron of the SDA Mission Hospital indicated they were only attending to emergency deliveries and inpatients who were admitted before Monday, March 11. This, according to her, was in compliance with a directive from the Christian Health Association of Ghana.
Apparently, the situation was no different in the other missionary hospitals across the country. Joy News correspondents who visited the various hospitals on Monday confirmed patients carrying NHIS cards have been asked to pay for the cost of treatment or are sent home if they have no money. The return to the cash and carry system is in line with the directive by the Christian Health Association of Ghana, the mother body of 183 missionary hospitals nationwide, who announced that its medical facilities will not continue to provide services to NHIS card holders effective today. The group is owed in excess of 50 million cedis for healthcare services provided under the NHIS, which the authority has promised to pay. After several meetings with the health and finance ministers, officials of the association promised to suspend their decision to turn away patients with NHIS cards. Dr. Gilbert Buckle, Executive Director of CHAG, subsequently issued a circular asking all hospitals to accept emergency cases, all deliveries and all inpatients currently admitted before March 11 should be treated under NHIS, but it appears various missionary hospitals are not complying with the directive. We'll be following this particular story and we'll bring you updates as and when. Executive Director of pro-MPP think tank, the Dankwa Institute, is demanding from government the amount of money to be committed to the Hope City project, which was launched last week by RLG Communications. Gabi Asarachi-Daku, who says he's suspicious of the government-RLG relationship, said the amount quoted by the company to be pumped into the construction is far beyond the amount spent across borders on similar projects. Comparing the project to the failed STX housing deal and inconsistencies in previous amounts quoted by the company, the Dankwa Institute is calling on government to, as a matter of urgency, provide details to the taxpayer on exactly how much is to be contributed to the project, either in tax exemptions or outright payment of cash.
December, your own Joy FM, early December 2012, came out of a report that RLG was going to set up $100 million technology park in January this year. Okay? January this year, IRG goes to revise the project and comes up with 10 billion. Now that's tenfold. From 100 million to 10 billion, and tells us it's a PPP. What is touted as the biggest civil engineering project in the world is just a couple of doors away from us, Nigeria, the so-called Eco-Atlantic. And the cost of that is $3.5 billion. Even if it's tax exemptions, you need to what? Calculate that in revenue terms. That will be lost to the state. But I'm saying let's not support it blindly, because there are certain priorities in Ghana as we speak. $4 billion, according to World Bank report, according to report by experts, about $4 billion can take care of all our water problems in Ghana. And also we can look at government's own deals with RG. I mean, the AGAMS group and RG, they have a very intimate relationship with government. It's important that when one company is being given such special treatment, we should ask for transparency and accountability. I would not single out RG, but I'm saying that we saw RG benefited from the overspending last year. I'm saying that for a fact. I have all the documents here. So long as the taxpayer is going to have to somehow fund it, okay, by losing revenue or by committing revenue to it, we need to know that it has been done properly.
Honorable Rashid Pope is Minister of State at the Presidency in charge of public-private partnership. He joins us on the phone line to hopefully give us some answers. Told we have just lost the minister. We had him earlier on the line. We'll try and see if we can bring him back. But in some other news, some leading members of the Atlanta branch of the main opposition New Patriotic Party say the party's flag bearer for the 2012 elections deserves praise and not condemnation. According to them, Nana Akuffo should be judged on his service to the nation over the past 40 years and not statement he made on the campaign trail. They point to Nana Addo's decision to seek judicial review as enough proof he is a man of peace.
According to the group, it is time to end what they term mediocrity and propaganda, which they say influence Ghanaians to make random decisions which are often not right.
The specific case is Nana Addo Dankwa, somebody who has served this country for almost 40 years, committed himself to the cause of justice, and has not really engaged in any antisocial behavior. Out of propaganda and mischief, people carved an unexisting or non-existing characteristics of the man. And because of that, a lot of people say things that can never ever be attributed to him.
Kwesi Ajimambuzia, a member of the NPP Atlanta branch, said there's overwhelming evidence that the December 7 and 8 elections were rigged in favor of President Mahama, adding that Nana Addo chose to follow the constitutionally laid down process to ensure peace prevails in the country.
The essence of this was to put that catalogue together, 40 years of public service, 40 years of being confronted at certain times through that period of choices between non-violence and violence, justice and injustice. And Akuffo every which time has taken that step forward for justice. And so we figured it was time that that history, that framework of a man's life was given the attention that he deserved. As they say, Mumia Mona Baso, because he's done good.
According to the group, Nana Addo as a leader has consistently responded to issues with dignity and respect for the rule of law. They are hopeful that the decision to pursue justice in court can mark a turning point in Africa.
Right, I'm told that we have Honorable Rashid Pope, the Minister of State at the Presidency in charge of public-private partnership, and we're going back to the story about Gabi Ochre-Dakun of the Dankwa Institute, demanding that government come clean on how much it is contributing to this Hope City project launched by RLG. Good evening to you, Honorable Rashid Pope. Are you able to, in a position to tell us how much government is contributing to this Hope City project?
Well, I'm even surprised the way Gabi has jumped to the conclusion that government is already in partnership and has already streamlined a financial plan to get committed in the Hope City project. This is a businessman who is dreaming big. He thinks that the project he's doing has so much to do with government, the state, and the progress of our people. It will create jobs for our people. It will create about 50,000 jobs. And the government is going to encourage all such projects, all such individuals and companies and organizations that are committed into ensuring that, they dream big and they bring development to this country. And that's all the government has done now, to show that we care and to show that we can be a good partner. I mean, we will create the necessary environment for all kinds of businesses to grow. And if it does appear, it comes to us, the need for us to buy into it, to be part of this project, definitely we'll make it public and the people of Ghana will know. No such thing has been talked about now. So I'm surprised where he comes from, where he's getting all those things and saying and giving the impression that government is already partnering RLG in this endeavor.
Okay, now I recall during the launch of the project, the president spoke and said he made some commitments and said that the government was willing to, was committing itself to support the project. What form of support is it going to take?
From where I come from, the ministry I am occupying, we create the necessary conditions for all businesses to grow. We ensure that business, the ease of doing business, is in Ghana here we give it such a leverage that all kinds of businesses can grow here without being hindered. And government will do whatever it takes to ensure that it will support business to grow in whatever form, as long as it will be legitimate and as long as it will create jobs and help our people. And what RLG is doing is to bring an innovation. It's a dream that is bringing an innovation into the business climate, the terrain of this country, which is unparalleled. And government cannot just sit by. Somebody is thinking about investing 10 billion, and you think that government can just sit by. I think that what Nana Akomia has said, my good friend Nana Akomia has said, should be what Gabi should be thinking. He said that it's a good project and that he would even have advised if it happened that Nana had won this election. It wouldn't have been out of place for us to have Nana, for them to have Nana go there to be part of this project. It is a project that government will definitely show interest. And I'm saying that if it comes to the need for us to put in any amount of money to support it, we will not hesitate to do that. But as at the moment, there is no such thing happening. To be in partnership with the private sector means that there must be a contractual relation, a formal relation between the two parties. That formal relation cannot be done in secret. So that's why I'm surprised. I think tank of this, level of understanding should know that these things are not done in secrecy. PPP means that you are in contractual relation with an entity. The entity is a private sector, and that private sector will be a party to the project. And government is showing interest because it's for public good. For example, roads, for example, energy, providing energy for our people. For example, doing harbors or doing what do you call it, an airport. These are all very, very important public goods, which cannot be provided by government alone. So we try to bring in the private sector to help in the procurement, financing, and the delivery of it, so that eventually we can have the people of Ghana benefiting from what otherwise government alone could not have found money to provide. So what government is doing now is to watch what RLG is doing. We understand that international organizations and big companies are all buying into it. And if there's a need for government to buy into it, why not? There's going to be a university there, as we understand. There's going to be several things there. I mean, a city that is unparalleled in Africa. So if government thinks that it has to be part of it, I will go for it. And I think that is important for all of us to be associated with it.
All right. Thank you very much. You heard the Minister of State in charge at the presidency in charge of public-private partnership, Rashid Pope. Elsewhere, a group of men claiming to be supporters of the National Democratic Congress at Wa in the Upper West region have gone on rampage in the town, destroying and burning all billboards to the portrait of President John Mahama ostensibly to express their disagreement with the nomination of Abu Kasangbata as Deputy Minister Designate for the region. The group, numbering about 12, said it hopes its action will compel the president to rescind his decision. Rafiq Salam reports from Wa.
The group started their action from the heart of the War municipality before noon, targeting the portrait of both President Mahama and the Member of Parliament for War Central, Rashid Pope. They stated that although they have nothing against Abu Kabiembata Kansangabata or his nomination, it is their belief that the country is practicing what they call representative democracy, who they think with the current nomination will not promote the integration of the people. The group fumes they have been so changed by the president and call him to revoke his nomination. Otherwise, the destruction that has taken place today will just be the beginning. One of them spoke on condition of anonymity. If the president wants us to have peace, he should revoke the appointment and bring a new person. But if he wants further destruction, he should maintain him. We will burn his office and car. The group concedes President Mahama is the head of the government and therefore has the prerogative to appoint, but maintain there are some people around him who they believe are advising him wrongly. In another development, a group calling itself the Upper West NDC Communications Group have also held a news conference to thank President Mahama for the appointment. Issa Kantajeri is their spokesperson.
We believe that the regional executive and the youth groups in the region are happy that their colleague, who they identify with, is now the Deputy Regional Minister.
Reporting for Joy News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.
Now, former Foreign Affairs Minister Alhaji Mohamed Mumuni is undecided about his future as a member of Ghana's 6th Parliament. This follows his recent appointment to serve the unexpired term of Dr. Mohamed Ibn Chambers as Secretary General of the African, Caribbean and Pacific Group of States. Alhaji Mumuni, who was elected MP for Kumbungu last December, says the fate of his parliamentary seat will be determined after a meeting with interest groups and officials of the National Democratic Congress.
Alhaji Mohamed Mumuni was nominated and subsequently approved to continue in office as the Secretary General of the ACP Group at the 42nd Ordinary Session of ECOWAS Heads of State and Government at Yamoussoukro last month. The MP recently visited his constituency to inform them about his new appointment and to interact with them. He was met on arrival by hundreds of supporters amidst drumming and dancing. The MP's first point of call was the palace of the Kumbunguna Abu Idi, where he was received by the Imbawulana on behalf of the chief. The Imbawulana thanked President Mahama for the honor done Alhaji Mohamed Mumuni and the people of Kumbungu at large. Alhaji Mohamed Mumuni later addressed party faithful. In a separate meeting with the press, Alhaji Mumuni said he has not taken a decision yet to vacate his seat in Parliament.
Reflected on the matter, and I came to the realization that once I've dedicated my life to the service of my people, my country, my continent, the role that has been assigned Secretary General of the ACP is in conformity with the aspirations of ordinary Ghanaians, ordinary people from my constituency. Because the main mandate of the ACP is to promote sustainable development. Definitely, if there is no contradiction, if the two can coexist, why not? I would want to, but I do know that there will be many, many challenges because most of the work of the ACP is exterior.
Mohamed Hashmin's report for Joy News.
Now, still to come in the bulletin, Orphans at Teshi Home get treat of a lifetime from South African banking group Absa has acquired the operations of Barclays Bank in 9 African countries, including Ghana. Absa, before the end of the year, will acquire all 100% shares particularly in Barclays Bank Ghana, and the bank will be renamed Barclays Africa Limited. The £1.3 billion pound deal is expected to give an African face to the operations of Barclays Bank on the continent.
Officials of Barclays Bank PLC see the collaboration with Absa Bank of South Africa as a major investment opportunity that will generate huge revenue for the bank, whilst taking its banking operations to the doorstep of its clients on the continent.
We envisage that Barclays PLC will continue to own a significant 66.2% of a Barclays Africa Group Limited entity that will be domiciled, listed, incorporated in South Africa. This is the entity that will, on behalf of the group, then own the 100% stake in Barclays Bank Ghana.
The 9 African countries include Botswana, Kenya, Mauritius, Ghana, Seychelles, Tanzania, Uganda, Zambia, as well as the Barclays regional office in Johannesburg, South Africa. After the takeover deal, which is expected to be completed before the first half of 2013, all Barclays Bank branches in the 9 takeover African countries will be referred to as Barclays Africa Limited. Officials will then embark on a massive rebranding exercise to make visible the new Barclays Bank operations to the public. Managing Director of the Barclays Bank Ghana, Benjamin Debra, says the bank has already facilitated the process of the takeover with the Bank of Ghana to ensure a smooth process.
At the moment, Barclays Bank Ghana is 100% owned by Barclays PLC, and that is going to shift into another entity, even though ultimately the ownership still remains 100% owned by Barclays PLC. That intermediary who holds the shares on behalf of Barclays PLC needs to be approved by the regulator, and that is the main regulatory approval that we are looking at. Timelines, we have already applied to the central bank, and we are in constant engagement with them, and we are very confident that we will get an answer shortly.
Absa, after the takeover deal, will acquire all 100% shares in Barclays Bank Ghana.
Research by South African Bank Absa has predicted some challenging times ahead for the Ghanaian currency, the cedi, this year. Principal economist at Absa, Rashid Pope, said the high budget deficit will put pressure on the cedi, resulting in further depreciation this year. The local currency last year went down by almost 18%, affecting most businesses and inflation.
Presenting a research paper on the global outlook of the world and African economy, Principal economist at Absa, Rashid said mounting public debt and the large fiscal deficit of government could put pressure on the cedi and cause it to devaluate.
Does it mean that we're going to see a significant weakening of the currency? Not at all. We've seen the currency stabilizing after the monetary policy efforts in the middle of last year. And the currency has been relatively stable around this 190 level for the past nearly 12 months. So if at all there's some weakening, it will be very limited depreciation. But purely based on economic factors, you would have to say that, again, that the bias lies towards weakening, but it will be limited.
The Bank of Ghana, he indicated, could manage this free fall by issuing robust bonds during the year.
Ghana has received a lot of foreign interest, and there's a lot of investment going into the local economy, not just into the oil and gas sector, but also other areas of the economy, and that will make the economy, or put the economy on a growth track that's more sustainable over the longer term.
Rashid also predicted an 8% growth in the country's economy, with oil as a major booster. He also projected the world's economy would grow by 3.3% this year and by 4% in 2014. Africa, he noted, will be the major beneficiary of this economic growth.
Next up, we bring you smart investment tips. Some 28 orphans at a home in Teshi over the weekend got the treat of a lifetime from a limousine company. In a unique gesture that will make those being cared for by both parents go green with envy, the company Eurostar rolled out 20 of its luxury fleets along with a dispatch rider to fetch the orphans from their home at Teshi here in Accra to the Golden Tulip Hotel, where they were fitted with the best the hotel had to offer. Now, who wouldn't want that? Dr. Sankuma, who went along for the treat, reports their gesture did not end there.
The luxury cars rode into the Teshi suburb shortly after noon, and residents could not help but wonder what it was all about. The children themselves were surprised at the development. Even though they had been informed they were going to be treated, they say they had no clue this was the way it was going to go.
When I saw the car, I saw the limousine, I thought there was a president that was coming. So one day I heard that it's us, we are going to sit inside. I was very excited, and the way the motor is going, I enjoyed it.
The convoy then drove through town to the Golden Tulip Hotel, causing quite a stir on the way. And why not? It's quite a sight to set eyes on a Rolls-Royce or Bentley, let alone a 20 luxury car convoy with both, as well as Maybachs, stretch limousines, etc., etc. The country director of Eurostar Global Limousine Limited, Walid Zubi, said the idea was born out of a desire to help the less privileged in society, but in a way that will let the children know they can become whoever they want to be and do whatever they want to do once they put their minds to it. He concedes there's a publicity stunt effect to the whole idea, but insists that has never been the goal.
Our whole aim is to get them to have a change of mind, change their mindset. We think that labeling people as orphans isn't really a very good thing. And, you know, in life you need to encourage those who are less privileged and those who are in a hard place to actually think their way out of it. Because you can throw all the aid, all the food, all the clothes at a child, but if you don't motivate their mind, they will be stuck there.
President and Executive Chairman Oscar Yaudo told the children they own their destinies.
We want them to realize that they own their own destiny and they can achieve absolutely anything, everything and anywhere on earth. And if they're able to succeed, I think it's good for humanity and it's good for Ghana.
Apart from the treat, Eurostar pledged to sponsor 3 of the children through university, and then following a request right there at the lunch, the country director threw in another gesture, donating one of their buses to the orphanage.
We were requested by the head of the home that their bus has been off the road for a while, just about an hour ago, and we decided to just give them our bus. You know, I think they need it more than we do, and I think it would be a shame if we have the ability to give them the bus and we keep it.
Staff of the orphanage as well as the children expressed their excitement and appreciation for the whole treat. For the children, they have been inspired to put in their best in whatever they do.
They brought us here, we sit in the big cars, we came and enjoy ourselves. I have learned that it's God who makes all these things, and I have to pray to God before I get all these things.
I have planned to do more than this soon, and I'll do it. Learning and hard working will take me there.
The inspirational word that we've heard now is that the word orphan is just a word, but it's not putting into our blood. So we can be whatever we want to be, but all is needed from us is just to be moving on and then learning very hard. So we think we are among the best.
The Teshi Orphanage has since been renamed the Teshi Royal Orphanage by Eurostar to help the children get used to their new mentality. Other orphanages in other regions will also benefit from this treat.
President John Mahama has announced his first ministerial reshuffle barely a month after appointing them into office. The reshuffle, which was contained in the statement, is to ensure that regional ministers focus mainly on the political and technical coordination of the development efforts of MMDAs, and as a measure to foster national unity, integration and cohesion. The President has effected the following ministerial reshuffle, and the following the full statement. Part of the vision of the administration of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, is to transform the Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies, MMDAs, into incubators and realizers of local level development that brings real, immediate and sustainable development opportunities, benefits and services to the people of Ghana. In line with this vision, in order for regional ministers to focus mainly on the political and technical coordination of the development efforts of MMDAs, and as a measure to foster national unity, integration and cohesion, the President has effected the following ministerial reshuffle. The Ashanti Regional Minister, Mr. Samuel Sapong, moves to the Central Region. The Bunahafu Regional Minister, Mr. Eric Opoku, moves to the Ashanti Region. The Central Regional Minister, Mr. Ebenezer Kwejote Ado, moves to the Western Region. The Eastern Regional Minister, Mr. Julius Debra, moves to the Greater Accra Region. The Greater Accra Regional Minister, Ni Lai Afutiagbo, moves to the Volta Region. The Upper East Regional Minister, Dr. Ephraim Avia Nso, moves to the Upper West Region. The Upper West Regional Minister, Mr. Bede and Wagato Zumo Ziding, moves to the Northern Region. The Volta Regional Minister, Mrs. Helen Ntosu, moves to the Eastern Region. The Western Regional Minister, Mr. Paul Evans Edu, moves to the Bunahafu Region. And the Minister of State at the Presidency, Alhaji Limuna Muhammad Munuru, moves to the Upper East as Acting Regional Minister. And that's a statement signed by the Executive Secretary to the President, Dr. Raymond Atuguba. Now on to the international stories. The International Criminal Court, ICC, has dropped charges against Francis Muthaura, a co-accused of Kenya's presidential election winner Uhuru Kenyatta. Fatou Bensouda said some witnesses were too scared to testify, while another had recanted his statement.
Muthaura was accused of fueling violence after the 2007 elections. Lawyers for Kenyatta, who won last week's elections, said similar charges against him should now be dropped. His trial is due to start in July. Muthaura, a former civil service chief, was on the same side as Kenyatta during the disappointed 2007 election, after which more than 1,000 people were killed and about 600,000 were left homeless. Muthaura was accused of 5 counts of crimes against humanity, including authorizing the police to use excessive force against protesters during the violence that swept through Kenya after the 2007 elections. Both men were accused of developing a plan to get the feared Mungiki sect to attack ethnic Kalenjis seen as supporters of Raila Odinga in 2007.
This afternoon and playing to Algeria ahead of their first leg round of 16 game against Algerian side JSM Bejaia this weekend. The Ghanaian champions are looking to make a strong impact on their return to Africa after a 4-year absence. Joy Sports cameras were at the Kotoka International Airport prior to the departure and captured this.
The first game, we didn't know much about them, but our coach gave us the strategy that we played against them and we scored them. So for this one too, we are just recommending our tactics that our coach is giving us so that we'll go there and beat them. When we do what we want to do and what coach has told us to do, we can get the victory over them.
All that we're doing is that we putting the boys into the perspective of playing an away game. And in an away game, you do things that will favor you. You don't do things to look for some favors. And you know, we have been very lucky to play in Malabo. And so the attitude we put up in Malabo was excellent. We could have opened up to get more goals, but no, we were just contented to see how, and I kept insisting, forget about the goals, just play and then play to our tactical game plan. But I think that if you have the right, attitude in playing away games, you should be able to come out if really you deserve to be at the top.
Issa Hayatou has been re-elected unopposed as Confederation of African Football CAF president, of course, for a final 4-year term in office. The 66-year-old, who was voted into power in 1988, has already said this 7th term will be his final period as head of the organization. Hayatou, who was applauded by delegates at the CAF conference in Marrakesh yesterday, also received a special certificate from FIFA to commemorate his silver jubilee. My name is George Adder Jr. Keep saying a prayer for Asante Kotoko and have a good night.
Sports was brought to you in association with